What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of Real Life, Real Talk. And tonight I have another special guest. Now, you guys know me, and you know I don't fool with a lot of people. So I only call two people that are not biologically my sisters. My sisters. You guys have already met Ashley, but I have another sister, Alisa, and Alyssa's here with us tonight. This is my sister. Listen, you only going to hear me call two people my sisters that are not my sisters by blood. I don't fool with people like that. But I told you guys that my friends come from different walks of life. None of our dynamics are the same. When we spoke with Ashley, Ashley is divorced, but she's now taken back off the market. But Alisa is happily married. And she is also, yes. She is also a boy mom. She's a fellow boy mom. She has three amazing boys. She just had a new one. I've yet to meet him. I'm such a but she has three amazing boys, and one of her boys is going to be my forever
right,
and that is Jacob. I don't even know how Jacob and I started calling him my boyfriend, but that's my boyfriend. I always call him boyfriend. And he is going to forever be my boyfriend. But Jacob I'm going to say this, Jacob holds a special place in all of our hearts because Jacob does have a disability. So tonight, Alisa is going to come on and she's going to share a little bit about being a mom to a son with disabilities. So Alisa wanted to do a little different tonight because she's just like me. We scary.
Mm-hmm.
We jump at our own shadow. So first, I'll give Alisa a little time to kind of fill in anything that I missed, anything she want to say to the people, just say hi before we get into the discussion because she wanted to do a Q&A, which I'm totally fine with. However, I say whatever makes the guest, I'll say, more comfortable. So Lisa wants to do a Q&A. So before we get into that, hey,
Lisa. I just want to say, yes, I am this ain't me. I don't do the upfront out in the public speaking. I took speech when I had to take it in college and it was a struggle to get through, but I made it, but it was a struggle. So this ain't me, but my sister called and she wanted me to be on it. So I'm here. But I do want to say, I am so proud of you. Stepping out and doing this. I know how you are. So big because I'm kudos to you because I don't know if I could do it but I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing and you're doing great.
Thank you. We ain't about that spotlight life. Leave us in the back.
For real. I'm good behind the scene. I'm great. I'm gonna boost you up to the end.
But this is another part of why I wanted to do this, to give women from different walks of life, different backgrounds, a chance to speak on things that you may not hear about on the regular, excuse me, but they could help someone else. So as I stated, Alisa does have three boys. Her middle son, Jacob, is the one with the disability. And this is something that she's comfortable with discussing. So I asked her first before I just flung it in her face. And I did come up with a couple questions. I did send them to her ahead of time so that she could be completely comfortable with everything. Because as my friends are supporting me, I definitely want to support them and want to make this as easy and as comfortable as possible. So we just want to jump right into it. And we'll fill in as we go, excuse me, and talk a little bit more. So the first thing is, the first question I had for Alisa was, according to the doctors, what is Jacob's actual disability?
So when he was about 3 years old, they actually diagnosed him with cerebral palsy because he was born at 25 weeks. And I guess as they took a while to diagnose him just because they didn't really want to, I guess, misdiagnose. So as he journeyed through his journey, by the time he turned 3, they officially diagnosed him with cerebral palsy. But I guess because of the lack of oxygen to his brain at such a young age. So that's his official diagnosis.
Okay.
It's so broad because he actually has a doctor. His rehabilitation doctor has cerebral palsy. and he has a whole family, and he's actually Jacob's doctor. So it's just so broad.
Oh, I didn't know. See, I learned something new tonight because I didn't know that.
He does. And that's his favorite doctor. Yeah.
So that's what I knew that it was cerebral palsy, but I didn't know if that was what the doctors actually said because sometimes we hear about certain disabilities, but they can be caused so many different things. So I want to know exactly what did the doctors say?
Yeah.
What was Jacob's
actual disability? And like I said, it's so broad. There's people, like there's doctors that have it. He has it. It just affects everybody differently.
Yeah. Okay, so you kind of touched on it, but my next question was, when did you all first notice that Jacob would have a disability? Or what?
Well, when he was so he was 25 weeks. He was born at 25 weeks. Our hospital stay was like 4.5 months. So while we were there, they told us like about the hemorrhage in his brain and lack of oxygen, and they told us that he may not perform like a typical child or whatever, but we didn't know what to expect. And I mean, we believe in God, so we just kept praying and just the best, whatever the best is, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we went through a lot. But when I remember going to his neurology appointment, and the doctor was saying, the neurologist was like a hard appointment for me to go to every time, because it's like I felt like it was always bad news. But we went to one appointment, and she was like pretty much saying like if he didn't like hold himself up and sit up by himself by like he was 2 or 3 or whatever, he would never walk. But I think he was probably maybe like 2 when they officially diagnosed him, just because of like his performance and what he had going on. That's when, because I moved here when I'm living in Charlotte, but I moved to Charlotte when he was about 6 or 7 months. So we were here for a couple of years before we officially got the diagnosis. So I think he was like 2.
So see, this is good information because some of the stuff Alyssa's saying, I didn't know all the details, because sometimes you get nervous, like you don't want to act. You've been and Alyssa been friends for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
Still, you don't really want to ask questions, or you don't want to seem insensitive or nosy.
Yeah.
So it's always, I know me, I speak for me. I've just always, whatever she shared, we would talk about it then, but I never really asked questions. So
right. It's kind of, I don't know, it's uncomfortable for other people, but I'm pretty much like an open book. If you ask me, I'm going to answer. I mean, I've gotten comfortable with the situation, so it doesn't bother me. It's funny because you like see other people come around him, and other kids especially, and they be like trying to figure out like what's going on with him, what's wrong with him, especially like younger kids. And Jacob like talk back to them like, what's wrong with you, or hey, and he be looking at them like, what's wrong with you?
Because kids have no filter. And let me tell you something. Listen, if you didn't see him in a chair, you would not know that he was not like a child, because he's going to speak his mind. He's going to talk regardless of what's going on. He's going to have his conversations. Yeah. And he's just like any other child, except for the fact that Jacob isn't fully mobile. But my boyfriend is just like any of these other kids around here, so don't tell him no different.
Right.
So my next question was, what were your initial thoughts when they were telling you all of this, telling you that, what the possibilities were or wouldn't be? What were your thoughts like? What was going on through your head?
To be honest, I was so young when I had him. I don't think it really registered to me what was going on. Like I was only 23 years old when I had Jacob. So it's like, I knew like, okay, I had a baby and it was too early because I was barely showing. But I was really taking it step by step, like as it happened. So, I mean, it was rough. We had a lot of hard days. But I didn't know what to expect. Like I did have a regular child. When he was born, they induced me because he was so big. Like he was 9 pounds 2 ounces when they induced me and I had him. So then to come back and have a 1 pound 9 ounce baby at 25 weeks was different. But I think I was just so young and didn't know like what to expect, because every pregnancy is different.
True.
I just went with it. And it's just crazy because I feel like the way women are built, it's like God prepares us and gives us what we can handle. Because now thinking back, I'm like, how did I even manage and deal with a 25-week-old with a 1.5-year-old child at 23 years old? So it was like, it was just so much. And my mom would always like, because at the end of the day, I'm her child. Like, I'm having
Right.
children. She didn't really, I mean, I had just had Jacob. So her concern was me. And she was like, why is my child going through all of this at only 23 years old? But I don't know. I guess God gives us what he feel like we can handle.
That's true. And being honest, because everyone is not built to handle that. And I've actually, questioned myself. I recently, had my annual, and my doctor was like, well, do you plan on having other children? So I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe one more. But I'm almost 40. Let's just be honest. The older you get, the higher the risk. And after Des, I had like the craziest miscarriage. I did have to ask myself, would I be able to handle or raise a child with disabilities? Like, some people don't honestly ask themselves that question or don't think about it, because some people think, oh, it won't happen to me. And you just never know, because I'm pretty sure you did not expect to have Jacob at 25 weeks. Like, that was not.
And then like we had it all planned out. Like, we was gonna have our kids 2 years apart, but then after Jacob hit, it was just like, okay, let's wait till Jacob turned 5, and then okay, let's just wait a little longer. And then, like you said, I just had a new baby, and they're 11 years apart now. So it's like we waited so long, but we was just so scared because we didn't know if it was gonna happen again, And
that was, I was gonna ask you, like, now having, like, when you decided to have Zion, like, was that something that stuck in your head, like a constant fear that was there for y'all? Like,
I tell you, I did every single thing the doctors told me to. I never take all my prenatal vitamins. I was taking my prenatal vitamins every night. Like, I did every single thing they told me to do. And then, like, I know we're not talking about Zion right now, but he ended up still having to go to the NICU. So that was rough. But it was so different. And I thank God for that, because he only had to stay in there 1 month versus 4. I know we have to rejoice in our positive.
W is a W.
Right. So.
And even, like, of course, like, he's not the subject for tonight, but that was my baby Hulk in the NICU. Like, he was pulling out tubes and carrying. That was not Hulk. So needless to say, Alisa has had some warriors. Right. Like, she birthed some warriors. They have fought their way through.
Yeah.
But like, back up a little bit. One of the questions I had, and I was saying I had to ask myself that question, like, is that something I could deal with? Was there ever a thought to you, like, can I really do this? Or was it just an instant, like, you know what, I got this, like, this is my baby regardless? Or did you have thoughts about, am I really built for this? Like, because it would be, Jacob 7, so it's kind of like long term.
Yeah, you mean with Jacob?
Yeah.
I think, like, I was so young, I didn't even know what to expect. I think that with Zion going into the hospital when I had him, I was thinking more about the situation because I had already experienced it. But when I had Jacob at 23 years old, I didn't know what to expect. Luckily, I have a little bit of a medical background, just working in a pharmacy and going through school or whatever. I kind of understood what the doctors was telling me, but it's like I didn't really know. You kind of know, you hear what they're saying, but you don't realize until it actually hit home. So I think that God just gave me everything I needed as I went through. Like, I didn't expect anything. I didn't know. I just kind of took the steps. Now, hindsight, looking back, it's like, how did I do it?
Yeah.
But when I was going through it, it was just like, it actually came with ease. It was just like, I just did what I did. Like, I was going to 3 and 4 appointments a week with the 1.5, 2-year-old. And I had like the little 2-seater car seat. This at 23 years old. I had Jacob in his little car seat. And when he came home from the hospital, he was on oxygen. So I had Jacob in his car seat, an oxygen tank, and Junior at, I think he was 2 at when Jacob was actually came home. And we rolling through the hospital, going to his appointment. But it was like easy. But I think it was hard, but I didn't know enough to like think about the struggle. It's just like I did what I had to do.
And that's good, because I mean, like you say, having a toddler and then a new baby, is enough by itself.
Yeah.
But then with everything that you were going through, like it was nothing but God's grace that was literally guiding you through every day. Because I, first of all, I commend anyone that has multiple children, because my one be feeling inside something.
Yeah.
That alone, was superwoman powers all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I commend you guys. Like, to be honest, I've never seen Lisa like break down behind this or nothing like that. She is one of the strongest people. Like my friends, like built different. I don't know.
I have my moments, but it's just like when you're in it, it's like I don't know. I thank God, because it's like my husband, he had to work. We was young, struggling. Probably shouldn't even have kids because we couldn't afford them. Like we trying to make it work. We trying to get through. So I mean, 23 years old, like we ain't have it together. But so he working. My mom, she had to work. So it's just like I don't know. Things just fell in place, and I just had to put my big girl drawers on and go.
But you know what really kicked in was that mommy's love.
Yeah.
When that mother take over, listen, you don't be knowing.
Dude,
like
you just go.
Yeah, you be running off like an hour of sleep,
Yeah.
no food, maybe a shower, but you getting it done. Because when you look at those babies and those babies are looking back at you like for the answers, it's just like nothing else matters. Like all else is gone. It's all about my baby. So I'm telling you guys, Lisa has done an awesome job. And for her to reach back 11 years later and have another one, I don't know, Lisa. I'm still thinking about it.
And this
we like be by your
talking, I'm like, I feel like we don't know what we doing. Like it's been so long. I feel like a whole new parent again because it's been so long. I'm like asking my mom questions like, is this supposed to be? I'm like reaching out to people like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like I feel like a whole new parent again. I already got 2 kids. Like
at this point, listen, I'm thinking like I might have to hire surrogates. Like I don't know, and a nanny. Right. I don't know. All right. So my last question for Alisa, what has been some of the biggest battles for Jacob, and also some of his biggest wins?
I think one of his biggest battles, I would say, is recently last year he had to have hip surgery. And that's been a big battle. Just the whole process. He had to have like he was dislocating, like his bone was coming out of the socket in his hip. So he had to have it like put back in the socket, and he has like a plate holding it in right now. But after the surgery, it's like he was in so much pain. Like Jacob, like he loved his mama, but when he was like in that recovery room, he was like so angry and just he didn't want to talk to me. I was like trying to help him. He like yelled at me, and he never does that. Like he was just in so much pain. Even after the surgery, like he still complains of pain. So that's just been like an ongoing battle. I kind of regret having the surgery, but I just was like listening to all the professionals and doctors and therapists that were like advocating for the surgery. But I don't know, it is what it is. It's kind of hard to determine what's good, when doctors are telling you, therapists are telling you this is what he needs. But now I'm seeing the aftermath of the surgery, and it's like, should we have done it? Because he seemed like he was more comfortable before than he is now. So I feel like that's probably been other than like the whole NICU stay, the 4.5 months, because after he got out the hospital, when like that 4.5 month span when he was first born, he's actually been healthy up until like probably like when he was like 9. He went to the hospital for the first time after that whole long span. That was just like because of like constipation and sickness and stuff like that. Not major sickness, just he had to get a G tube, and it sounds probably worse than what it really is. Well, I'm explaining it, but he's been very healthy. Like his disability just affects his like walking. He can't sit up by himself, but as far as health wise, he's a healthy child. But I could say like one of his best wins. I don't know if it's like a specific win, but for me, Jacob is just like the most happiest child. Like he's so bubbly. He has so much confidence. He trash talk like it ain't no tomorrow. Like if you challenge him on a basketball game, he gonna break your ankles. That's what he said. He in a wheelchair, but he gonna break your ankles. So for me, a win is just his personality and just him. Like he doesn't like he knows he's getting older now, so he knows like I can't walk. And I'm probably like kind of I'm a boy mom. Like I'm not soft, so I'm kind of tough on them. So I'll say like, Jacob, you stand on that, but you can't walk, and he'll look at me like, really, mommy? Like don't like. But just his personality, I think, just makes it so much easier to take care of him because for a while he couldn't communicate his wants and needs, and then he like eventually like started talking, and that was like the best thing because he can
Yeah.
tell me what he want, what he don't want. He trash talk to. We have a big family. My mom has like 10 grandkids, and they're all boys except one. We have one girl, so they all like come at him, and he go right back with them. So I would say the biggest win would be his personality and just who Jacob is.
And that's what I love most about Jacob. Like I said before, Jacob, other than the fact that he's not mobile, you can't tell any different.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he started, like his speech like started getting better, it was like immediately. And it's like listen, he's talking.
Yes. Like, before you
I'm not,
understand, but
yeah, and see, I'm not around him as much or talk to him as much. So even when I talk to him, sometimes I'm still trying to understand some things, but a lot of times I can understand what he's saying.
mm-hmm.
He just all of a sudden like his speech just like and vocabulary just like overnight. And now, oh my gosh, we FaceTime earlier and I was like, "What is my boyfriend?" And you guys, he is maturing so much. I can't take it. I cannot. These kids are growing up. Like, I think what Des was like maybe what 1 or 2 when we met.
I think so.
Somewhere around it. Cause I remember you sent me a picture. And
yeah, with him like with the little drums in his hand.
Yeah,
and he was still sitting like little on the bench.
And these kids are getting older, so I'm like, oh my god.
Junior was just talking the other day, and he was. I said, no, Junior, Des is like probably tall as nation. He probably tall as me, my shoulders. I said, Des is tall.
We went to eat pizza today, and we walked down the street, and Des is literally like right here, and he is just turning 10. So to look like when we first met to now, like how they're maturing, even Junior, like, and I was like, oh my gosh,
right.
They are getting so much older, but even though we don't see each other a lot, because everyone is still in North Carolina and I'm in Virginia, but even seeing them and like seeing Jacob's progress and just him getting older, like that's the blessing within itself. Because, like you say, disabilities affect people differently, and for Jacob to still be here is a blessing all by itself. That's the first thing because he was born at 25 weeks. Yes. But just to grow up, to see his progress, to see all that he's accomplishing. And like she said, his vocabulary. And I know when you sent us a video when he first got his chair, he tried to run the other kids over.
Yeah.
So even in the video,
like use the motorized chair now, and he can actually do it.
Yeah, and in the video, like seeing him like moving the chair and operating it, like, and you just be like, dang, like we don't talk about it as much, but I know me, like I be getting emotional. Like I was telling her, and I'm seeing it all in my feelings. This baby don't even know nothing about me. But just seeing them, progress and seeing, all that he's doing, being able to move a chair, on his own, it's just amazing. And I commend Alisa again. I commend any parent that has more than one child because I be struggling with my one. But to raise a child with disabilities, and she does it with so much ease, like I commend her. I'm glad she's my friend. I'm glad she is my sister, not just you. She is my sister, and her husband does an amazing job. They have a great support system, but they all rally together, and everyone is there to help Jacob love Jacob. She has an amazing village, and it takes a village, not just a child with disabilities, but children itself. It takes a village. Like it takes love, and trust me, Jacob is not lacking love at all. He is amazing. So listen, I'm so glad you did this. You did great.
I didn't shed no tears.
We were talking about getting emotional, and I was like, she's like, can you send me the questions? So I pulled out my notebook, and as I'm typing the questions, I'm like, dang, like I was feeling some type of way, like,
yeah. every time I think about like what we've gone through, it's so overwhelming. Even he's 11 years old and it's still overwhelming, but I don't know, we making it. And that's my baby.
You are doing your thing. You guys are doing an amazing job. And like I said, you do it with ease. Like
I try. I
you
can't.
don't.
Thank God. God gives it to me.
But thank you for coming on and talking about being a mom. Because anybody can talk about being a mom. You know, I know a lot of people with kids, but having a child with a disability is definitely different. There are all types of disabilities out there. So I did want to, just shine a little light on different things. So when she was trying to figure out, what could she do for an episode, I thought this would be something great to talk about because there are people out there with children that have disabilities that we don't really know, or we don't know, what their struggle may be or what the struggle is all together. So I definitely thank her for coming on, Alisa.
You're welcome.
Thanks for tuning in with us tonight, family, for Real Life, Real Talk. Stay tuned for more episodes. And Lisa, give my love to my baby.
I sure will.
And remember, guys, if no one else tells you today, I love you.
Peace.